Let's start the podcast. Hello, world. Your host, Cliff Jacks here, and you're listening to Off the Cliff Sports, episode 15. In the NHL playoffs, the number one seed, Tampa Bay Lightning, gets swept? You gotta be kidding me. I don't know a lot about hockey, but I thought they were gonna run through the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup. We'll talk some hockey later on. I definitely want to thank everybody for listening in. I appreciate you guys spending your time to listen to what I have to say, my opinions, my guests, their opinions. This is a show for the everyday Joes and the everyday Janes. None of us are professionals unless we got some professionals out there listening, and we get to voice our opinion. So anytime you want to reach out to me, feel free on Twitter, Instagram. You can go to offthecliffsports.podbean.com and you can hear all the episodes. You also can comment on any of the old episodes if you want to as well. Also, YouTube, the videos are posted there on Saturdays as well. We got a big show today. We're going to talk Tiger Woods, y'all. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and we're going to have a nice little football segment since the draft is coming up next Thursday, and some NFL news that's probably important to some people out there. Stay with us on Off the Cliff Sports. Off the Cliff Sports. So, remember, once we get to 65 followers on Instagram, also once we get to 65 followers on Twitter, we're going to do giveaways for both. So make sure you're telling people to go follow us on those different platforms so we can get this giveaway. I'm tired of holding on to these prizes. Someone wants them, and I'm ready to give them to you. Remember that. The Masters golf tournament was held in Augusta, Georgia this past weekend. And for the last day of that tournament, it was the most watched morning round of golf CBS can recall. And it's had stats from back in 1987. So that must have been some exciting golf action. I wonder why. Okay, we all know why. Tiger Woods won his first tournament since 2005, I believe it was. The greatest comeback ever is what a lot of people are calling it. Professionals, non-golfers, golfers, everyday James, everyday Joes, everyday Cliff, myself included. And yes, I was one of those who skipped church and watched the Masters fourth round on Sunday morning. Unbelievable. I personally did not think Tiger was going to win this tournament, but he did. He battled through the first 9 holes, and it was looking kind of shaky if you ask me. I mean, he was playing well, but the people in front of him was playing well. Mr. Molinari, he was steady and looked like he was primed to stop Tiger from making history and doing something that everybody wanted to happen. But Tiger Woods was able to keep his steady play, and Molinari stumbled. Some of the other golfers who had great final rounds stumbled. And what we would call history is made, and what people say has brought Tiger Woods back to the PGA forefront. Now the question is, can Tiger pass Jack Nicklaus for the most major win? I think he has a chance. I mean, he needs 3 to tie 4 to surpass Jack. And I see Tiger playing another 4 or 5 years, and so that's 4 major tournaments a year. I think he has a shot. But golf is very competitive now. I mean, although Tiger could be considered the man again, there's a lot of golfers that got skills, and I think he has more competition now than he had back in the past. These younger guys, they can hit the ball further. All of them are not as accurate, but it's going to be some. He's going to have to battle to win. He played 4 great rounds, I would consider, this weekend. When I saw that he was in the top 10 after day one, that let me know he had an opportunity. But it was a lot of big time golfers made it to Saturday. So it was very exciting, especially for a person like myself who I watch golf. I watch it way more when Tiger's involved, but I would prefer to go out and play it myself. But I do know the stars. I know Brett Cup. I know Rory. I know Ricky Fowler. So I know a little bit about golf. And I know all the golf fans out there know golf is one of those sports. I mean, winning those tournaments is not easy because there's so many people. It's not like basketball where you know Golden State is good. You know the Houston Rockets is good. You know the Milwaukee Bucks are good. Golf is one of those sports. If the right person gets hot on a Friday and a Saturday, they can put themselves in position where Sunday you just got to hang on. Some situations, it's not about you going to get the win, but Tiger actually went out and had to come from 2 strokes down at the beginning of Sunday. The rules were changed because they played in groups of 3 because they were trying to beat the weather. They started on the first hole and the 10th hole to try to make sure they got the tournament completed. So it wasn't your ordinary, normal final round. Tiger got a lot of weight lifted off his shoulders. Tiger has also done a second thing that's very important. The PGA Tour is about to make a lot of more money than it was going to make. I mean, there's golf fans out there. They're going to be golf fans. There's always going to be golf fans. But when Tiger's playing golf, the money changes. Now, I don't know if they're going to admit that, but if Tiger's playing, that dollar sign goes up because you're going to even have more people watching. Like I was saying, CBS said it was an average of 10.8 million people watched the final round. Normally, they average about 4.5 million for afternoon. The afternoon encore, actually, I'm sorry, had 4.5 million people watch. That's crazy. And it's all because of Tiger Woods. Anybody can tell you that's why. Tiger also won one young man $1.19 million. He went in and put an $85,000 bet that Tiger would win the Masters before the opening round Thursday. And he cashed out with a nice 1.19 million. That's a nice payday. He'll be able to do a lot of things with that cash there. Even move out of Vegas. He can move to a nice state, buy a nice house, and live pretty comfortably. The PGA year has kicked off with a bang, and I think the rest of this season is going to be exciting because any tournament Mr. Woods play in is going to be box office. So if you're not a golf fan, you might want to take a look at it a little bit. Try to catch Tiger on Thursday, but definitely try to catch Tiger Friday, Saturday. And if he's playing Sunday, Tiger's going to have on that red shirt. You want to watch because most likely he's in contention. Outside of golf world, sports has been popping this week. We got the NBA playoffs. First round is in full effect right now. You got the Warriors who got stunned in a game earlier this week and lost to the Clippers after being up 31 points. How do you lose after you're up 31 points? Hey, I've seen some strange stuff happen, but the Warriors did turn around and put a thumping on that same Clipper team to let them know who's who. Now to the sad news. DeMarcus Cousins was injured in that second game of the series, and he's out for the entire playoffs. And after coming off a Achilles injury from last year, this injury was devastating because it's going to probably hurt his bank account. He was looking to cash in this summer. Nice check because he bet on himself this year, and he had a real good year for the Golden State Warriors. He was dominant. But after this injury, he's going to have to probably bet on himself again to get a deal that he's looking for. We wish DeMarcus the best. Hopefully he get healthy, come back, and is able to help some team in the playoffs or go for that title. Golden State, I think, is going to be okay. I think they're still that team. And with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, if those boys are in any kind of a rhythm, it's hard to beat them. I don't care how good you is. If those three are clicking, Golden State's hard to beat because at that point, Draymond, all he has to do is set picks, rebound, make good passes, play strong, solid defense, and that fifth player that's on the court, whether it's Bogut, whether it's Looney, whether they're going small with Iguodala or Quinn Cook, they just got to be steady. So I don't think Golden State is really worried, but we'll see. That second round is going to be exciting. Golden State and Houston in the second round, that's going to be fireworks. I can call that already. Those will be the two teams in the second round. On the other side of the bracket, you got an old school San Antonio Spurs team going up against the new kids on the block, the Denver Nuggets. Spurs are up 2-1 right now in that series. It's just Pop against the young boys. As long as Pop players are playing at their pace, playing solid defense, it's been causing a few problems for Denver. Denver has to get up and down more in order to win that series. In the other series, you got the Thunder, Oklahoma City, and Russell Westbrook and Paul George against Dame Lillard, TJ McCullough, and the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are up in that series right now. It's really a battle of can OKC stop Dame Lillard and McCullough from hitting so many threes and then getting downhill making plays for their big guys. I would try to run those two guys off that three-point line every chance I get. Make them shoot two-pointers. If you're making them shoot two-pointers and they can beat you that way, you'll just have to deal with it because if they're hitting threes, it starts to get tough because you got to bring your defense further out. So definitely got to trap hard on those guys. Try to make the other three players on the court have to make a pass, not just get them the ball so they can score. If you get those other three players where they got to make one decision, you're probably going to win because their decision making isn't as great. That's what you got on the West. On the Eastern side, the Boston Celtics are dominating. Playoff Kyrie is in full effect, and he is balling. Then he has Jason Tatum helping out, Rozier, Jaylen Brown, but Kyrie's balling right now, and they're probably going to sweep that series. The Milwaukee Bucks are up 2-0. Blake Griffin, for some reason, has a sore knee, so he's not playing. So that eliminates Detroit hands down. Without him and his 20-some points a game and 10 rebounds, they might as well not show up. I think that series, I believe, is going to be a sweep also. Philadelphia and Brooklyn. I told you guys this on another podcast. I wish it was kind of switched up. Philly is playing Brooklyn in one series. And then you have in the other series, Orlando is going up against Toronto. So I really wish that Philly-Brooklyn matchup would have been Brooklyn against the Celtics and Philly against the Pacers, but it is what it is. Toronto's up in their series over Orlando. Orlando's playing some good ball in that series. They're playing some team ball, and they don't really have any stars on the team, which is they have one all-star in Vucevic, but I mean, most people probably wouldn't even consider him a star. So, but they're playing with Toronto, playing well. I think Toronto at the end just have too many weapons. They're too long for Orlando, and I think they'll get to the next round. So myself right now, I still have Golden State coming out the West, and I have Toronto as a 2 seed in the East coming out of the East. We'll see if I still have my teams once this first round's over and we get to the real deal, the second round of the playoffs, where you've played some games, you're kind of a little beat up, probably a little tired, and you know at that point it's a grind. Best team to win four in those series, move on. That's your NBA wrap up. Oh, I forgot. Magic Johnson stepped down as GM president of the Lakers. Then the Lakers went ahead and fired Luke Walton, their head coach. And lo and behold, in less than 24 hours, Luke Walton had a new job. Wow. That's what I call wow. I don't see that type of stuff where I'm from, where I get fired and hired back in less than 24 hours. But Vladdy Divac said, hey, Luke Walton's the man for the job. He has some ideas that are going to work. So he hired him as the Kings coach. I don't even think he interviewed. I think he just called and said, Luke, got a job offer for you. You want to take it? Because I don't even see you had time to do an interview unless you did it before the season was up. That's how things work in some privileged areas. Oh well, more to come on that later. Hey, we're going to take a quick 15-20 second break and we're going to come back, and the NHL playoffs is going on too. And they fight over in the NHL. Fist the cuffs. We'll be back on Off the Cliff Sports. Cliff Jacks, your host. Stay tuned. You're listening to Off the Cliff Sports. Remember, at Cliff_sports is the Twitter handle. Off the Cliff_sports is the Instagram handle. Check us out. The NHL playoffs is going on right now, just as if the NBA. So if you are a total sports fan, you have plenty of things ongoing. Plus, you got the NFL draft coming up next Thursday, or this coming up Thursday. Sports is in full effect. In the NHL, the best player in the league, one of the best players in the league, I actually think is Sid the Kid Crosby, but Alex Ovechkin, who won the MVP this past year, got in a fight in the playoffs with a young guy, and he knocked the guy out. A lot of people are telling me that was Bush League hockey, but they're able to fight. So both guys dropped their clubs, and they went at it. The veteran won. Big time. The veteran won. At first, I didn't see it. Someone sent me a clip, said, hey, you got to check out this fight. It was unbelievable what I saw. So that's hockey for you. The biggest news in hockey is the team that came in with the best record in the regular season, Tampa Bay Lightning, the team I picked to get to the Stanley Cup. They were swept out of the playoffs by the Columbus Blue Jackets, who it was their actual first playoff win. They've only been in, I think this is their second season in the league. So that was not a good look for Tampa. Teams, it's going to be hard to be taken serious after that type of stuff. Also, the Calgary Flames, who are the number one seed on the other side of the league, they're struggling as well, and they're on the verge of being swept out the playoffs. And they actually did lose tonight, so they were swept. Oh, okay, I'm giving bad information. They were knocked out. They lost 4-1, so they didn't get swept. They did get one game. But the two number one seeds are out in the NHL playoffs this year. The question now is, who's the front runner? Would it be one of those young teams, or is it going to be somebody in the middle of the pack? Right now, my hometown team, those Dallas Stars, are looking pretty good. They're tied their series up 2 games apiece. So they're in the running. You got the Toronto Maple Leafs doing pretty good, one game from getting to the next round. So it's going to be real interesting to see who is the team that's going to stand up and become that team to beat in the NHL. Right now, if you have to ask me, I think the St. Louis Blues are in good position, or the team that was the first year team last year, the Vegas Golden Knights. They're leading their series 3-2. I think they could possibly have a chance to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for a second straight year. We'll see how that hockey thing turns out very soon. But now we're going to get into one of my favorite topics of the week, which we failed to give you last week, but a lot of people that commented to me said apparently I gave it to Magic Johnson since I talked about him a lot. And they said I talked about him in a negative fashion. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, I'm an everyday Cliff, and I just give you my opinions and my thoughts and the way I feel. This week, I'm going to invite the Tampa Bay Lightning, the whole team, to the top of the cliff. The Lightning won 62 games this year. They had 128 points in their hockey season. By far the best team in the league. They got to the playoffs, first 2 games at home. They lost. People was like, okay, they lost, but they can bounce back. They go on the road, and things didn't get any better. And now they're on vacation. Tampa Bay Lightning had the best record for a team to not win a game in the playoffs in the NHL history. Unbelievable. I want those guys from Tampa Bay. I don't know a lot of you, but I do want you to join me on the top of the cliff. I always tell my guests when you get to the top of the cliff, what you do there is up to you. But please join me on the top of the cliff, Tampa Bay Lightning, because your season is over. Your season was wasted. You accomplished nothing in the long run other than winning your division, which at the end of the day, if you're not hosting Lord Stanley's Cup, you didn't do anything. Maybe you're going to have a lot of individual awards. I hope that makes you happy, but please, Tampa Bay Lightning, join me at the top of the cliff. And I do really appreciate you for doing nothing. Guys, we're going to come back and talk NFL, the NFL draft. I had 2 callers, 2 of my buddies, A-Train, Mo. I got them to give us their top 5 picks. We're going to talk about that when we get back. Thank you for listening to Off the Cliff Sports. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks, and we're back talking a little NFL, the best sport in the world, most people say. And the NFL draft starts out next Thursday with the first round, then on Friday with rounds 2 and 3, and then on Saturday with the rest of the draft. A long, drawn-out process. I definitely understand not having a draft all in one day, but just having one round that first night doesn't work for me. It should be at least round 1 and 2 or something of that nature, but one round for 3 hours is kind of ridiculous. The NFL is the only sport that would be able to get away with something like that. The other sports couldn't hold up with it. The NFL also released its schedules for 2019, and all the teams have their schedules. We know what times and what games are going to be where, what dates. So that's exciting for some, and those that only do football gives them something to talk about for a few weeks until we get to OTAs and training camp. I can tell you that the Oakland Raiders have the toughest schedule in 2019, followed by the Denver Broncos, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. So those 4 teams have the toughest schedules based on opponents' winning percentage from the previous year. We know how that stuff goes, though. You can't really buy that stuff. It's not all that accurate. The NFL draft time. I personally think Kyler Murray will be the number one pick in the draft. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I'm just not sure what Arizona's trying to do right now with Drew Rosen. Are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him and have a battle? I don't know how that's going to shake out. I have two guests on the line, and I asked both of them about if they were the GM of these top five teams, who would they pick as their players? So you're going to get to hear that here in a moment. Other NFL news, Russell Wilson got the bag. He told Seattle they had until the 15th, and the night of the 15th going into the 16th, I think it was, here in the Central Time Zone, Seattle made that commitment to Russell Wilson and gave him that average out to be $35 million a year. So he got that money. He also did a corny video with Ciara after the fact that everybody made fun of him of. But hey, making $35 million a year, you can make fun of me all you want. That's what I would say. Congratulations, Russell Wilson. I think he deserves it. He is a solid quarterback that most people probably thought would not get it done. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1 Super Bowl. So he is in a place where a lot of quarterbacks would love to be in right now. Now, the next point is, can his team get over the hump again and get some playoff traction and not be one and done? Demaryius Thomas, who played with the Texans last year, signed with the New England Patriots. I think Tom Brady will be good for him. He's coming off injury, though. And the reason he got traded to the Texans is because he made too much, and the Broncos saw that he was having an issue with drop passes. Drop passes is not going to fly in New England. If he can correct that, and if he's rehabilitated from that injury, it might work out for him. We'll see how that goes. We got a lot of time before that shakes out, though. He's still recovering from injury. My favorite team, the Denver Broncos. Right now, I see them early schedule prediction 9-7, 10-6 is where I see my Broncos going. So if anybody asks you, I think we got a good situation. For the Cowboys, I got them 8-8, 8-8, maybe 9-7. I think their schedule's a lot tougher than folks think it is. I think it's pretty tough. But I got two guys that called in. I'll let you listen to their calls, and you can give your opinion on what they say as well as what I said. So stay tuned. Back with you on Off the Cliff Sports here. We're going to get into our NFL draft, which will be starting next Thursday. So we'll talk about it this podcast, so you'll have some insight going into next week. I have A-Train with me right now. He's going to give us his top 5 picks for this upcoming draft. And then I think we'll ask him about the upcoming schedule and his favorite team, those Dallas Cowboys. Boo. Okay.
Hater.
I'm okay with the Cowboys every now and then. But A-Train, let's get into this draft here. The Cardinals have the first pick. If you're GM, who is coming off the board first for your team?
Kyler Murray, because it's already hyped up. Fans want to see it. He's a great player. I think he'll adjust well. He's short, but that's the only knock against him is he's short. Other than that, he's a solid player all the way across the board. So I would get him. That would be my first pick.
I think Kyler Murray is too small, but hey, that's just me. As long as he get down, I just hope no one comes after him. Because
if Doug Flutie can play in this league, Kyler Murray can play. If what's his name? If Drew Brees, Russell Wilson can play, Kyler Murray can play.
All right, touche. So if Kyler Murray goes number 1 to the Cardinals, who are the 49ers going to take with number 2 if you're the GM?
Okay, now the 49ers, they got a lot they need to improve on. So they can go a lot of different routes. Now, my philosophy personally, get a quarterback, rush the quarterback, protect the quarterback. So that's the order I would draft. Now for them, I would either go with Quentin Williams, defensive tackle, because he can rush the quarterback from all 4 defensive line positions, including defensive end, or I would go with Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle from Florida, because that man is a pure beast. He can play offensive tackle both sides. He can be a swing tackle, which is rare in the league, and he can play guard if you need him to. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't draft a guy that high if I'm going to play him at guard. So, I mean, Mr. Williams is a monster on the D line. There's no doubt about it. I like that pick, I say. Upcoming at number 3, we got those New York Jets who just picked up their running back. They have Sam Darnold at quarterback. So, what for the Jets, Mr. GM?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. Jawan Taylor, off the board. You need to be able to. You have the running back. Quarterback, yeah, you ain't really got that, but you need offensive lineman. You need an offensive lineman that you can use in multiple positions. You need that solid guy. You need a bell cow on the offensive line. So I'm still gonna stick with Jawan Taylor on it.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I like skill positions, but you're right. You got to protect Sam Darnold because they're going to invest in him. He'll be their $30 million quarterback in a couple years. So I see that investment as a good pickup. Then you got the 4th pick in the draft. The name I hadn't heard yet, surprisingly, is the guy who, at the beginning of last year, before college started, was the number 1 pick in the draft, Mr. Bosa, which I think he's okay. I'm not sold too much on him, but where were you going at number 4 in the draft?
I'm glad you mentioned him because that was my number 4 pick. Now I will pick him because I'm sold on him. Him being hurt and deciding to take the rest of the season off, that has no effect on his play. I think that was a good, smart move on his behalf because he had nothing else to prove at the collegiate level. So I will go for him since they foolishly let go of
that monster?
A man amongst boys foolishly let him go to the Chicago Bears. They let him go. So Nick Bosa isn't going to replace that fully, but he can kind of make up some of that slack because he can play defensive end. He can play some outside linebacker. So he can move around. He's very fluid. You know, he gets after the ball. He can fight all blocks. So all those little tangibles that they had before that they're missing, he can fill those gaps.
Do you think he could play for a coach like John Gruden, though? Gruden's a tough guy.
I think he can play for him. I mean, he's, and I hate to bring his brother into it, but he's a Bosa. His brother's been there before. So for him it's different because he has someone he can confide in, and he has that mentorship coming from his brother. So he'll be able to mentally handle that by leaning on his brother. So
and he's privileged, so leave that out.
We never gonna leave that out. He's privileged. Gruden loves privileged players. I said it. He loves privileged players, so he'll be fine.
And number 5, who would you pick, Mr. GM?
My main man, Josh Jacobs, running back from Alabama. Everybody's like, what?
Whoa.
Josh Jacobs, and I'm going to tell you why.
Whoa, that's
I'm going to tell you why. He is the first complete running back I've seen out from the University of Alabama in a long time. Even more complete than Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's okay, but he's still a ground-and-pound guy. Josh Jacobs, he's fluid. He can run between the tackles, outside the tackles, catch out of the backfield. He can block. He can do all of those things that Alabama always has a billion running backs for. So him and Harris, his backup, those guys, they're complete running backs, ready for the NFL. That can play all 3 downs. And,
wow.
Tampa Bay could really use that.
I mean, Tampa Bay, they have Ronald Jones, and they have I can't think of the starting back from last year.
Exactly.
They got 2 backs already.
But they're not doing. Listen, if those backs were doing what they needed to do, Jameis Winston's job would be a little bit easier. It's not.
They don't have him throwing the ball into double coverage. He does that on his own.
I mean, because he's feeling like he has a forced place. He has no relief. Josh Jacobs can add that relief, and he can be a actual legit check down. So this boy will stop making these foolish plays throwing into double coverage. Now, when y'all play Dallas Cowboys, please throw into double coverage. But outside of that, be smart, man.
Man, I'm going to have to get Mo on the line because he's a Tampa Bay fanatic to let him talk about that. That's interesting.
Hey man, Mo, that's a good pick, man. I encourage you to go back and look at this boy's film. This Josh Jacobs is complete.
Okay, we're going to go with that for now. So the NFL schedule came out last week, and there's very interesting games. Looks like your favorite team, the America's team. I don't know why they're America's team, but they are. They have a pretty tough schedule, if you ask me. What do you see your record being for the Cowboys this upcoming season?
I say 10-6.
All right.
We can be 10-6 if I'm looking at it realistically. Now, we may lose one more in there because I do truly believe the Bills' defense is not to be messed with. So I can see that kind of going sideways. I can also see the little man from Little Lamb having a big game against us because he's pretty pissed off in Dallas right now. So
who is from Little Am, sir?
All of my Dallas Cowboy fans know exactly who I'm talking about. The little man from Little Am, a.k.a. the number 11, a.k.a. the speedster receiver.
Oh, Cole Beasley. I forgot Cole did
There you
go
go.
up there.
He caught on to those hints.
I forgot he went up and got the money from the Bills because the Cowboys were too cheap to pay him.
They should have paid that man. He covered the Dallas Cowboys in times Jason Witten couldn't. And then when they let go of Jason Witten, you go away from your security blanket, which is foolish. He's a security blanket.
So the Cowboys don't have a pick until like 58 in the second round. Have you researched enough to think about who they're going to pick up at the second round?
I mean, honestly, at that point,
another lineman.
We need linemen, and there are a ton of great linemen in this draft. So I would say I would go for an offensive tackle. I haven't looked to see who would probably be available around it. I mean, there should be a few good offensive tackles available still. But I would go there. More importantly, I would try to get a swing tackle, somebody that we can use on both sides. Left tackle and right tackle, those are two completely different positions. So if someone can do those successfully on both sides, one person, that'll be a good pickup. Or if we want to add to that defensive end position that we thin in right now, we need to go ahead and pick somebody up there as well.
All right. Good information. Great talking to you as always. I'm going to have to let people listen to some of these picks. You got a couple interesting picks in that top 5. But, hey, everybody has their opinion. That's why we have this show, for everybody to voice their opinion. Appreciate your time, A-Train. Until next time, you have a great rest of your evening, sir.
All right. Catch y'all next week.
Back here on Off the Cliff Sports here, some more NFL draft talk. We got Mo on the line here, and he's going to give us his top 5 picks if he was the GM of these teams up there at the top, starting with the Arizona Cardinals on should they take a quarterback or should they take a player that can help them win now. What's going on, Mo?
Man, what's going on, man? How you been?
Hey, it's been a hell of a week. Hockey, basketball, too much going on.
Oh, yeah, it's crunch time. We got the hockey playoffs, we got basketball playoffs, we got the NFL draft next week. Oh, yeah, it's very lovely. Tiger won. Yeah.
Yes, PGA Tour. Most people are excited except the other players on the tour because they probably like, darn. Everybody, it's nobody watching them play. Everybody's watching one set of golfers, whoever playing with Tiger.
That roar was strong. I don't watch golf, but I watch Tiger. Yeah.
If he can stay healthy, he's gonna help golf. Which I talked about that a little bit on how much money he gonna make them PGA Tour execs.
Oh, he's killing the money. It's gonna be ridiculous, especially with the comeback. One thing America loves is a comeback story, and it's probably the best comeback story you'll ever see.
Yeah, it even looks like he have fun on the court now, on the course, which is amazing.
I was humbled. It's humbling when you damn near can't walk anymore, and then when you lose something, when you take something that you love so much, you take it for granted. You realize how much you love it. So, Hey, we done seen a new Tiger Woods, but he definitely showed his greatness, man. I really enjoyed him winning that.
Yeah, it was fun because I didn't think he was gonna win coming Sunday, but hey,
I
everybody
thought
has
he
a
would
shot.
win again. I didn't know when. I'm not gonna say that, but I thought he would win again if he could stay healthy. He was too good, and he proved he could.
Let's get into this NFL draft that's coming up next Thursday. By the time the draft comes around and starts, our next episode won't be on yet, so that's why we're doing our draft stuff now. So Arizona's on the clock, and we got Mo as the GM. Mo, who are we taking with that number one pick in your eyes?
I can't wait for the draft. Oh, with the number one pick, the Arizona Cardinals, with not a surprise, takes Kyler Murray with the number one pick. Kingsbury is a run and shoot type quarterback who's the perfect person to come run that system, no other than Kyler Murray. So he will live and die by what Kyler Murray can do. Yes, sir.
I mean, I guess that's good. He's bringing his guy in, but why haven't you already traded Josh Rosen so you can get your draft really stacked?
Don't worry. I think what's gonna happen is we're trying to get the best value for him. There's no rush for them to trade Josh Rosen. Hell, we can even have a competition between the two. There's no rush. So it's not like they're gonna be in the playoffs next year. So they're gonna try to get the best they can get for him. Probably what's going on is they want a number one.
No.
They're not getting offered a number one.
No, they ain't getting no
probably
number one.
Probably getting offered 2s and 3s. So at that point, why am I rushing?
I mean, would you take 2 3s for him?
2 3s?
2 3s.
No, I want a 2. I want a 2 at least.
Oh no, I don't think he worth for 2. Well, let me take that back. I like Josh Rosen, so he's probably worth for 2, but most teams are not gonna see it that way.
You got to think about it this way. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm looking at it. You get you a young quarterback. You don't have to pay a signing bonus, so you getting them for cheap. So I should get at least a 2. You lost us. You probably salary cap wise, you probably only getting hit for $2-3 million for a number one pick quarterback that you gonna bring.
That is true.
I got to get at least a number 2 for that.
We're gonna see how that works out.
For another 3 years. So
if you pay him. All right, so the second pick in the draft goes to them San Francisco Cardinals. Am I hearing Joey Bosa coming off the board?
Whew, this is a tough one. Joey Bosa, because we got to get us an edge rusher. We have no edge rusher. Quentin Williams would be my preferable pick. He's probably the best player in the draft, but we need an edge rusher so bad that, and pedigree-wise, we're not going to pass up on that edge rusher. You want a dominant edge rusher before you want a dominant inside presence. We got to sack the quarterback. We're going to go with Mr. Bosa.
But if Williams the best player in the draft, I want the best player because that means he's going to be that guy.
Trust me. I agree. Like I said, I think he's the best player in the draft. However, because I can't remember their D tackles, but they got 2 pretty good D tackles right now. I need an edge rusher. You have to have an edge rusher in the NFL to be successful. You're going to take the edge rusher before you take that dominant D tackle. So, and it's close. It's not like he's overwhelmingly the best player when I say it. Joey Bosa, probably if he would play the whole year, I would be saying something different. It's just because he's coming off injury and played most of the year. So
he didn't play none of the year.
Huh?
He didn't play any of the year. He just played, one game?
He played a game last year. He got hurt TCU game?
I think he played 1 game and shut it down.
He played a little bit more. Yeah, regardless. I'm taking, Joe. We're going Joey. We can't pass a pedigree and a talent.
So that puts the Jets on the board at number 3. Now, I'm thinking the Jets need to get weapons for Darnold. Where are you going with number 3?
Okay, Metcalf. We gonna go with that. We gonna go with Megatron Part 2.
Oh, and
we gonna surprise everybody with the draft.
Third pick in the draft. Ooh, that's
third pick in the draft. That's probably not gonna happen. But if I'm the GM, I want my young quarterback to have a chance.
Hey,
I got him Le'Veon. Now I'm about to get him that receiver on the outside.
I would definitely. I like it.
Yeah, you got to give him that receiver on the outside. When you run a 4-3-3, 40-inch vertical, look like Mr. Olympia.
And I don't think nobody care about his stats. When they saw his chiseled body, I'm like, really?
Hey, complete monster. And don't let the stats fool you. He actually balled. In college, he just had injuries that he just unfortunately had the injury bug. He had real bad injuries.
And playing for Mississippi wasn't that good rate either. I mean, he played for Mississippi.
But truth be told, Ole Miss air game was lethal. So he played with two other great receivers that they spread the ball around. So like I said, I got a young quarterback. I'm gonna give him a young receiver to throw to. They're gonna grow together. I already got that stud running back there. So that's my. We need other needs, but again, in today's NFL, it's offensive. I got to give my quarterback a weapon. Let's go DK Metcalf with the third pick in the draft.
I like that because of the fact they got Robbie Anderson and they got Enunwa. Those three nice receivers, I think, could be effective. So that's not a bad choice. Surprising, but not a bad choice.
Not a bad choice at all, sir.
And so at number 4, we come up with John Gruden and the $100 million coach GM and the Raiders.
So this is, I think we talked about this earlier, but since I'm the GM, I think Gruden gonna go another way. But as me the GM, I like Carr, so I'm not looking for a quarterback. We need to make up for the Khalil Mack. Again, we need an edge rusher. So we're going to get probably considered the other top edge rusher in the draft. We're going to go with Josh Allen with the number 4 pick.
Mr. Allen, surprising pick with Quinn Williams still on the board.
Yes, I'm going to go with Mr. Josh Allen.
I know they did sign the young man from the Patriots to the highest contract for a lineman, so interesting.
Yeah, you got it. It's also based on today's NFL. You gotta get to the quarterback.
That's true.
You just gotta get to the quarterback.
Speed kills.
And Josh Allen with number 4 pick. We'll go with the outside linebacker.
And I know what the listeners don't know that I know, that you are a avid Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I don't know why. I think you used to like that orange uniform they had, that ugly orange uniform, I guess.
Hey, man, we had D. Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Mike Allstott, Ward Dunn.
Oh,
you know them boys was bad.
You talking about that team that team Tony Dungy had that they took away from him and gave it to another coach. We're not going to talk about that, though. Let's don't talk about that.
Man, I always tell you, Tony took us as far as he could have. Gruden took us to the mountainside. We can talk about that another day.
You're right, because I don't want to really talk about John Gruden on my podcast. Just don't. He's a Raider, I'm a Bronco. We don't really care about them. So, with the 5th pick in the draft, where are you going?
This is a tough pick.
You got a new you got a new coach, you got a new offensive coordinator.
So, this is the problem with the Bucs. With the 5th pick, it depends on what the Bucs want. If I'm the Bucs, I'm the Bucs. So we're gonna take
a tough one. Now one of my callers earlier, he shocked me and took a running back at number 5.
Yes, he was very disrespectful. There's no way we're taking Jacob. What's his name from Alabama?
Josh Jacobs.
There's no way we're taking Josh Jacobs with the 5th pick in the draft. We do need a running back, but he's not 5th pick in the draft type running back. Not close. Unless you think he's a Saquon. a Todd Gurley,
He's
a Zeke Elliott. I don't think any of those names you think of when you think about Mr. Jacobs.
Yeah, not the last two especially.
No. Adrian Peterson, I don't think you see any of that. It's going to be between Quentin Williams and Devin White.
Linebacker to replace the linebacker that left?
Yeah.
Or Quentin Williams to man the defensive line?
Right. If everything stays as is now, the Bucs would probably take Devin White. We would probably take Devin White. But since we're at the 5th pick, and this is not a trade, if I was the GM, we're trading back.
Oh, wow. You trading back from the 5th pick?
Yes. Because if we keep McCoy, we just drafted the boy out of Washington last year. I can't think of his name. I apologize. Vita Vea. So we don't need another D tackle. Again, this is because we already have 2 D tackles. So we don't. But if we let McCoy go, then yes, Quentin Williams without a doubt. But if we keep it as is, we might as well go back in the draft, get back to like the 9th or 10th, and I think Devin White will still be there and take him at linebacker. But for this particular instance, we'll go ahead and take the best available player. My consensus number 1 pick, the best player in the draft right now, we'll go Quentin Williams from University of Alabama with the Bucs. That's what we'll take.
Oh, so you're going to go with the best player, Williams. All
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's not a pick, but I don't think Williams wouldn't be on the board if I was drafting it. If he's on the board at 5, there's going to be some happy teams out there because that means a lot of talent is still left.
Yes, that's why I said if I was the Bucs, I'd move back. I would just keep it in this scenario that we can't move back. But if I was the Bucs, I would move back, trade the number 5 pick, and take Devin White. That's what I would do. Let Quentin Williams go pick up a extra second, extra third, or possibly a first from next year. Just don't move too far back. We move probably 10, 11, will still give us Devin White.
Oh, you think he's going to last that long?
Yes, because I don't think the Giants are going to take the teams coming up. I don't think are going to take a linebacker.
The Giants got to revamp everything. Everybody think they're going quarterback, but with that front office, you never know.
Yeah, we might trade with your Broncos. Y'all might want that boy. We trade the 10th pick. We trade with the Broncos.
No, I think we're good. We're good where we at.
Y'all don't want the quarterback?
Hey, we good where we at, I think.
Okay. I'm just checking.
So you got Kyler Murray as 1. Then you went with the D.
Bosa.
You did Bosa at 2?
Bosa at 2 for the Niners.
And at 3 you went with
DK Metcalf.
That monster.
Yes.
And then you went DN at 4.
I went Josh Allen.
And Quentin Williams at 5, although you really want to go with somebody else.
Back. If we stay put, you gotta take the best player. At that point, you take the best player. We're going to the 3-4 anyway, so we would just have him playing one of the ends on the 3-4. He would dominate there. We could make it work without a doubt. We would have Vea, McCoy, and Quentin Williams as our 3 down linemen. That would be a definite force.
That would be nice. So we got your 5 picks there. Now, your Bucs. We got the schedule out. I know you looked at the schedule. Y'all are rebuilding. We all know you're rebuilding. What do you see your record as coming into the 2019 season?
First of all, I don't think we rebuilt it as much as everybody was stating. We got us one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the NFL, in Bruce Arians.
Players coach.
We haven't had one of those in a long time. We got us one of the best defensive minds in the NFL at defensive coordinator now. If Jameis can act right, I think we could go 10-6, maybe 9-6.
Wow, 10-6, 9. Now, A-Train, who called in earlier, he's a Cowboy fan who I know you hate the Cowboys. He said the
Ooh.
Cowboys going 10-6, 11-5.
I looked at the Cowboys' schedule.
8-8.
The key to their schedule is they got to start off strong. They got to go 5-2 and 6 or 6-1 because the beginning, their first 7 games,
It's
they
easy.
should be no less than 5-2 or 6-1 because the back end of their schedule is going to be brutal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got them 500 this coming up season.
I always got the Cowboys 500 not making the playoffs.
A lot of people would love to see that, but I don't know. Everybody thinks Zeke and Dak is going to be able to do it, so we'll see how that works out for them. I just unfortunately for you, your quarterback is not going to help y'all succeed.
I think that I disagree. Once again, I think Jameis has all the tools to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He just got to get his mind right. There's no throw he cannot make. And people forget he's a young quarterback.
He's not young no more in the NFL though. It's not young. He's been around enough.
No. As far as being a veteran, he's played 4 years, but he's only 24.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I see him just like Russell Westbrook in basketball. Decision making is not always the best.
Well, don't you ride Russell Westbrook?
I love him to death, but that don't mean he gonna win with our decision making. And I've seen Jameis will catch fire. Jameis will have 350 yards passing, but that one play that you need him to make, I just don't see he got that intangible.
Bro, we can win. I'm just looking over the schedule. We can win 10 games this year, bro.
All right, 10 games. Y'all heard? Yeah, I heard.
We can win 10 games this year. 10 games is definitely doable for my Bucks this year. Jameis is the key. But it's okay because if Jameis falters, we will be getting Tua Herbert next year.
No,
we are lucky.
Tua who?
Herbert. I think the boy from Oregon.
I've watched him play a few of his games that I don't see. Maybe he'll translate into the NFL better. I just don't see it. The competition level he play against, I don't think he's that guy. But to get Tua, you're gonna have to only win 3 games if you're gonna get Tua. So there's some teams out there that's looking to win 3 games. They already done put it on their schedule. These are the 3 games we want to try to win.
Yeah, like I said, I think we got the pieces. Defense definitely needs to improve, but I trust Bruce Arians, so we'll see. He is a quarterback whisperer. All
right, I'm gonna give y'all 8 wins this year. Y'all and the Cowboys have the same record, I believe.
And what did you say your Broncos was gonna do this year?
Right now, I'm looking at 9-7, 10-6. Yeah, see, I'm actually being honest. We got Fluco as quarterback. We have Fluco.
Oh.
But the one thing he'll be able to do on our team that he couldn't do for the Baltimore Ravens, he could throw the ball down the field on our team. We got a couple horses that's gonna go get it.
Hey, how did you feel about Demaryius Thomas going to the Patriots?
He's coming off injury. I did not know that they were welcoming Josh Gordon back until I read about the trade. So I didn't know that part. So I'm like, oh, so if he comes back healthy, Demaryius probably not even gonna get on the field.
Why not? Who play on the other side? Logan? He can't be Logan out?
You got what's the young boy name? Not Cooper. What's
Dorsett?
Dorsett. You got Dorsett.
Stop, bro.
You got Edelman. You got Edelman.
If you can't be Dorsett, Edelman is a slot. If you can't be Dorsett or Logan out, you don't deserve it. Damn, you really don't need to be on the team.
Hey, well, the reason he's not a Bronco any longer is because he started dropping a lot of passes. So coming off injuries and having a drop pass issue, that won't fly in New England. You know that. So
he got a quarterback, but he got a quarterback now.
That ain't gonna help him catch the ball.
He got TB12 now. He got different motivation now. TB12 in the house.
Hey, I wish him the best. He won a championship with the Broncos, so hey, I wish him the best. But I don't know that injury. We'll see how that injury comes back.
And And he didn't look too bad with the Texans.
Yeah, because he had a top 5 receiver on the other side. Or in his mind, the top receiver on the other side. But, I'm going to say top 5.
Okay.
I'm going to respect the ones up there because Julio is the best receiver in football. So,
I think we're going to see a lot of wheeling and dealing next Thursday. I think it's going to be one of the most interesting first rounds.
I hope so, because the draft to me is stupid. I don't like the one day with one round, then we have another day with 2 more rounds. That I lose interest. I got a family. I ain't got time to watch all that.
Bro, the NFL is such a money maker business-wise. They know they own it. Only the NFL can make the first round last 3 hours, and they know everybody's going to watch it.
I guess you're right about that.
They don't even care. Only the NFL can get away with doing this. The first round is 3 hours long.
You're right.
Second, third. So it's just a money maker, man.
All right, Mo. We appreciate your time and your input and all your knowledge of the game. Be sure to check us out again later on. We'll get back with you on another episode, especially one after this draft happens, so we can do some draft recap.
Can't wait.
All right. You have a great evening, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. You be good.
Thank you guys for listening in to Off the Cliff Sports. We had a great episode today. Covered a lot of information. We didn't cover any baseball, but we do have a 162 game season. The Mets are winning. I like that. Those guys that's making a lot of money are playing well, except Mike Trout, who was injured, so he's missed a few games. But he does have $400+ million in the bank. Our quote of the day is going to come from one of the best hockey players, if not the best hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky. Wayne states, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Simple quote, but effective. Again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's from the great Wayne Gretzky. That quote can be used for hockey. It can be used for basketball, so it kind of fits in well with this time of year. I definitely thank you guys. Please remember, Instagram, Twitter, follow us. Go listen to the episodes on YouTube or offthecliffsports.podbean.com. Again, I'm your host, Cliff Jacks. This is episode 15 that you've just listened to. Thank you for listening to Off the Cliff Sports. Cliff Jacks. We out of here. Peace.